hey, the tower actually got back to me, so I guess I can fly around the area here later once I'm done. That took a while. Lucky I kind of scheduled my flight for a time that was way later. I thought I'd have a lot of basically waiting around, but nope, kind of worked out. Funny enough, with the email they gave me, this is how it should be, well, for the most case, because it says here, the RPAS operation requested below is approved as requested subject to the following conditions. For this particular operation, do not contact ATC unless you have a flyaway. In that case, contact the tower at 604-688-9254 immediately, indicating last known position, direction of flight, and battery life remaining. Generally speaking, that's how it should be when you fly low altitude so far away from the manned aircraft. Like, just contact us if something happens. Like, I think it's a little overboard to go through everything for basic flights. Funny enough, I'm actually way closer to the seaplane harbor area here compared to the other place, plus there's so many helipads, yet this one, I don't need to maintain the communication, so to speak, like contact them ahead of time, oh, I'm going to fly now, etc. That's a good thing though, so maybe through all these requests and stuff, they're starting to realize there's no point wasting everyone's time for someone flying so low compared to the manned aviation. On a quick random note, I don't know why yesterday in the final video output it didn't render like the screenshot of the steps yesterday. The only thing I did beforehand was update my video driver. Maybe that messed up the video editing software. So just for my own reference and documentation, here's the screenshot for what I did yesterday with the steps. And what I read today, it was actually kind of shocking, but probably not in the way you would assume. As you guys know, I usually just read around to catch up on the news and so forth, find out what's going on locally and stuff. So I read this article here, apparently it was published a while ago. And it says here, videos captured all the sounds of Vancouver in 2 minutes. So apparently these pair of videographers or filmmakers from Toronto came here, I guess, for sightseeing and basically doing some filming. It says, the duo spent time recording the vibrant sights and sounds of the city, encapsulating it all into this short video. So apparently the title of this video is Sounds of Vancouver, and it's described in the article. It says, from birds chirping in Lynn Canyon to the distinct sounds of SkyTrain pulling into a station and the rain hitting the sidewalk during a night out in Gastown, Smolders and Lamb managed to perfectly capture the sound of Vancouver. So it says here for the creator, Smolder explains that their camera was on for most of the visit, saying, quote, during our free time, we shot the city in early mornings and late evenings, meeting different people along the way that were more than willing to be in our video, he told Daily Hive. So I thought, oh, interesting, let's have a look. Because basically I'm always keen into seeing other, I guess, forms of expression artistically and all that. And as I watched this video, I was like, hey, that's my drone video in this video. I guess like your own handwriting, for me, I recognize my footage because it's a certain style and stuff to it. And it's kind of ridiculous. Like it even said in the description here, quote, I captured the sights and sounds around Vancouver's top places to visit and see. These guys essentially stole my video or are taking credit for it. I was like, what? The part about this whole thing that makes it kind of disgusting is just from all their actions, it makes it seem like they're actually actively trying to hide the fact that the footage came from someone else and they try to pass it off as their work, so to speak. Like one example in the video is as it goes on, in the part where they're walking through the Lynn Canyon, you basically see a person walking through, basically establishing the emotion of, wow, the trees, the waterfalls. They then cut into an insert shot of the person carrying a drone and the drone controller to imply, hey, we're gonna fly this thing to get an aerial view, and what do you know? There's my footage there. And I know 100% it's my footage is exactly the same thing. If that wasn't enough, they basically tried to crop the video itself just to block out my name that I usually have, like on all the videos. So again, it's like they're actively trying to hide it. Even at the end credits and all that, they make no acknowledgement of where it came from. They basically stole it. I'm thinking, do people just not have a conscience? How can you sleep at night lying like this, like to the whole world, like the mainstream media? In context of this whole situation, I thought this was kind of funny. Essentially, in his other social media handles, the description of himself, it seems like he advertised himself as like a videographer, wanting to, I guess, to be hired for various jobs. And it says here, all things motion, honesty is priceless in film. I don't think the word honest is actually in this guy's vocabulary. It makes me wonder too, just in terms of doing this, if you're using that as a way to show your portfolio to potentially get business and they're a company doing it commercially, so to speak, when customers hold you accountable, if they see like a clip like that and they're like, oh wow, we'd like that type of work. How did you do this? How much do you charge? And they pass that off as their own work. Can't they be held liable for that? The other disappointing thought about this whole thing is this guy kind of reminds me, just based on what he did here, it's almost like the fake it until you make it route, which is kind of disappointing because I know a lot of artists, they basically live on very low income, never getting that opportunity. And then to have someone like this steal someone's work that they're doing it out of the passion of it and trying to, in a sense, commercialize it, that's just so wrong in so many ways. Now, there were other things about this that seemed kind of sketchy to me, just in terms of the way they operate. I won't get into the details and all that. But it got me thinking too, did I ever speak to this person before? Did they ever try to ask me for permission? And funny enough, I do recollect a moment where it actually is this exact same person that makes things worse. Basically last year, this guy actually contacted me asking if he could use my footage. And from what I gather, at first it sounded like it came across as he just wanted to use it for some project or something like that. I still said no because it sounded like he wanted to use it commercially. And then he even asked if he could pay money for it to license it, but still I said no, just because based on things like the regulations and stuff like that, like I didn't want to do it commercially, I was just doing it for fun and all that. So basically, no, you can't use it. And yet here, as you can see, they used it anyways, and they actually tried to hide the fact of where they got it from. I mean, either way, even if I did say license it to them, they have no right to do it the way they did. And with all the evidence here, I don't think I would personally accept like a verbal apology, because it's one of those things like with criminals sometimes, it's kind of like saying, are you sorry because you're truly sorry, or are you sorry because you got caught? That's what I would think. But what would you think as a person from the outside? It's just funny to me, this is actually the first time I've seen something like that happen. I mean, it's not new where people steal your videos and let's say they upload it as is. But in this case, the person is specifically trying to take credit as if they filmed it and all that. Is that what they taught you in school, buddy? You basically rip off other people's work, like I said, fake it until you make it. That's just so disappointing that people actually do that in the world. And another thought I had was, unless they're lying about it too, they obviously had their own drone, so you could have easily just flown it up yourself and captured like a quick footage. Pretty much exactly the same thing I did, but I guess that kind of shows too, where many times getting those types of shots that you actually want in the end is actually a lot harder than it looks, just in terms of things like controlling the speed and the angle. Although in my opinion, if you can't capture that yet, it just takes practice. But again, that's no reason to take someone else's work. Like me, for example, what I lack is usually things like the resources, the right cameras to shoot things that I want, like doing things like time-lapse and all that, but doesn't mean I'm gonna steal someone's work and make it look like it's mine. Kind of makes me curious too, because I know a lot of you actually run a photography or videography business. How would you react in that situation? For someone who actually does it, let's say for your livelihood, would you react any differently? In a weird way, I guess it's kind of a good, fascinating thing to document, because you can kind of see how everything works many times, where when people take other people's work, they then advertise it and schmooze, I guess you could say, with the right people. And then you'll never know, like the original creator of that work, so to speak. I know it happens a lot of times with things like photography in magazines, where people publish the photos as if they took it, when it ends up not being true. But then it's a little too late, right? I guess it's one of those things too, like they say in life, do nice guys finish last? Is it only people who do unethical things and lie to get ahead, or are they the ones who end up winning all the time? Alright, see you guys later.